Hey everyone, this is Sharon with DesignerDIY, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made this cute Easter Bunny wreath. This is on a evergreen wreath form, and I'm using 21-inch mesh. First, you want to cut your mesh into 12-inch pieces, and you keep it rolled up just like this, and we're going to fold it in half, and I'm going to pinch it here so I have a loop and two tails. Now when I place it into the outer edge of the wreath, I twisted this one in with the loop on the inside and the tails on the outside. For my next one, I'm going to flip it so that the loop is on the outer edge and the tails are on the inside edge. And I'm going to continue alternating the direction of the mesh as I go around that outer ring. For this wreath, I am using 18 total pieces of mesh. I am doing 10 pieces around the outer ring, and I'm going to be doing 8 on the inner ring. Now that I have finished adding in the mesh to the outer ring, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the inner ring. And for these ones, it doesn't matter if you're alternating the direction or not. You just twist it in, and I'm kind of doing them slightly angled. Not as much like vertically into the wreath, if that makes sense. That way they kind of bump into each other more. And since we are going to be covering the center, I don't want a bunch of mesh and ribbon like going into the center. So I'm kind of angling them a little bit more side to side. Next up is the ribbon. I have 2 different groups of 2 ribbons, and they're cut into 14-inch pieces. I'm going to take one of each from the first group, make an X, I'm going to gather across the center, and then we're going to be twisting these ribbons in between the groups of mesh on the outer ring. So they're going between the mesh, not on top of the mesh. So every single gap where you see the dark green pine, we're going to cover with ribbon. Once you twist it in, I fan them out to get the best coverage. Now for the next grouping, I'm going to grab one of each of the other ribbons, make an X, gather across the center. I'm going to go to the next space. I'm going to twist these in, and then again I'm going to fan them out. And I'm going to continue adding ribbon all around the back outer edge of the wreath form until I get it filled in. We used 10 pieces of mesh in the back ring, so we're going to use 10 total groups of ribbons. So I cut 5 pieces of each of the ribbons. Once I have all the ribbon in that back ring, we're going to attach the bunny. I used a little floral pin to attach the pipe cleaner, and I also added a horizontal pipe cleaner across the ring of the wreath so that it would be easier to tie the bunny to. And I'm just going to double knot this, and then I'm going to trim off the extra pipe cleaner. Make sure he's nice and secure. And the next step is going to be the bow. For this wreath, I'm doing 2 bows. I'm making them both the exact same way. I'm using 3 different ribbons. I have a 4-inch and 2 that are 2.5-inch width, and I'm using the Easy Bow Maker. First, I'm going to make a 20-inch tail, and as I push the ribbon down, I'm going to be making sure to twist it so I have the right side of the ribbon showing for the tail, and the wrong side should be coming out that other side to make the loop. That way when you flip it over, the right side is showing. Hope that's not confusing. If you need more in-depth easy bow making tutorials, we have those on our site. For this back layer of the bow, the loops are 7 inches. And then I'm just leaving a little tail going out the top, so I'm just going to trim that off. I'm going to grab the green for the next layer, and I'm going to measure out the same length for the tail. I'm going to push it between the peg while twisting it. And for these loops, I'm just making them slightly shorter than the previous layer. And then I'm going to snip this little tail. And then the top layer is this awesome spring plaid ribbon from Ferris Silk. This is also available on our site. Same length for the tail. I'm going to again make these loops just slightly smaller than the previous layer. And I'm going to trim this tail, and then I'm going to take my wire that I have and tie it around the bow. And I'm going to carefully slide the ribbon up the dowel rods, and then I'm going to tie the bow as tight as I can get it. And I'm going to double knot with the wire, and I'm going to use this same wire to just go ahead and attach the bow directly onto the wreath. For this wreath, I'm going to have one bow on the top side of the bunny, and it's going to have the one tail just kind of cascading down the wreath. For the next bow, I'm going to be putting it on the bottom right side of the wreath, and I'm going to have the longer tail going up the wreath. So this is me just using the wire to attach the wreath to the actual wreath frame, to attach the bow to the wreath frame, sorry. So I'm taking my tail, and I'm going to figure out where I'm going to bunch it, wherever there's a little gap in the wreath, because I'm going to use the pine to twist it on. And for all of these style of bows, I usually try to create a little bit of space between the 4-inch and the 2.5-inch ribbons. That way when you're looking at the wreath from different angles and not head on, you can kind of see the different layers. And then you can just trim off the tails the length you want them. So this one I'm attaching to the bottom, and this tail is going to go up the wreath. Next step is these pink spiral curl picks. You just want to figure out where you want them on the wreath. You're going to just poke them directly in. These are bendable, so I can kind of play with like where I want them to land on the wreath. And depending on the pick you're using, you can either twist it in using some of the pine branches. You can also use a pipe cleaner to like anchor it in from the back side. Whatever makes it secure so it's not going anywhere. I also have this like spring greenery pick. I broke it up into different pieces, and I'm hot gluing it just sporadically throughout the wreath. And then the next step is going to be some ornaments that I have that I've just put a bunch of glue on, and I'm just sticking them in wherever there's a gap. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's kind of a quick one. Thanks for watching.